Welcome back, Bat Team. We are once again doing another episode review breakdown for Batwoman Season 3. Today we're talking Episode 9, where of course we got a whole lot of Poison Ivy stuff going on here with the actual, real, original Poison Ivy, as well as surprisingly some Green Lantern stuff with John Diggle, because I had no idea he was going to be in this episode. They never officially announced it or anything, so he's here, and we got some pretty big stuff when it comes to that character storyline. It's been just teased here and there throughout the different Arrowverse shows over the past couple of years, that now we finally know what it is actually building towards. But anyways, guys, of course, quick spoiler warning, if you've not seen the episode of Batwoman Season 3, Episode 9, definitely go check it out. It's on the CW. And guys, let's jump into this and break down the episode. So like I said, this is a big Poison Ivy episode where we really get to see Bridget Regan in action as the original Pamela Isley, aka Poison Ivy. Because actually when we start off this episode, obviously as we know, Renee kind of revived her and brought her back to life and basically kidnapped her and saved her from the Batcave. And so now they're out in the woods, and Poison Ivy actually jumps in the lake because she thinks it's going to help rehydrate her, because that's how she was stowed away in the Batcave all these years, because she was dehydrated and couldn't use her powers. But for some reason this doesn't work. So she's still alive and good and stuff, but she's not at her full capacity of powers, and that's obviously her main goal here. Now, like I said, we also have the return of John Diggle in this episode. David Ramsey returning the role. Of course, he was a main character, one of the main characters in Arrow as this character, and now has been popping up here and there throughout the different Arrowverse shows the past couple years, and he makes an appearance here where we get some pretty big stuff, because apparently Jada Jet actually calls him in. She, of course, is Ryan's mother, and now he's actually got a beard. I don't know if that's just because, David Ramsey just, grew some facial hair, or if that's something related to the character. I don't know for sure. Maybe we'll find out at some point. But basically, she wants to hire him as her bodyguard, head of security. Obviously, he's like, no, I can't do that. And you actually get a couple different hints here that actually they used to be a thing, a romantic thing. And he makes pretty clear, I have a wife now, I'm with Lila, so that's good. But Diggle really did feel almost out of character in this episode. He just seemed really weird. His whole relationship with Jada was just really, really weird. But anyway, they go to investigate Renee Montoya's office, and this is where they actually end up finding the Joy Buzzer, because that's, of course, another thing that Jada is trying to do is clear the name of her son, Marquis, who is basically the new Joker of the Arrowverse and in Gotham City here. So they find that, and obviously that is going to be super duper helpful for clearing his name. But meanwhile, we have Luke, Sophie, and Ryan going into the woods to look for Renee Montoya and Poison Ivy. And of course, we get some, different stuff going on here. Ryan and Sophie have a lot of flirtatious arguments throughout this episode, and at the end of it, they kiss. So this is the big one, and I like this because I like that they've built up to this throughout the whole season. You've kind of had this back and forth of will they, won't they? Now they will, and they did, and so I'm excited to see their relationship go forward more, because again, they were arguing through the whole episode, but it was a flirtatious, playful arguing kind of, and so now they're using that anger towards each other as passion and love. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in the future. But then Luke is just the third wheel there, and he's still dealing with his PTSD stuff and living the shadow of his father. And at the end of the episode, he actually meets up with John Diggle actually at the grave of his father, Lucius Fox, and he has this box. So the box that Diggle got in the Arrow finale, which of course, as we all know, is the Green Lantern ring. Apparently Diggle gave it to Luke to see if he could open it up, because obviously in the Arrow finale when he first got the box, it automatically opened up. You saw the green glow and everything, but apparently since then he hasn't been able to open it back up yet. So I think he said that he tried the tech at Argus, but that didn't work. Luke wasn't able to get it open with the Bat Tech either. So for some reason this box won't open, and Luke says something about how'd you get it to open the first time, and Diggle basically says I didn't, it just opened for me. So clearly there's something special connected to him, because specifically John Diggle was chosen to be the next Green Lantern, or at least a Green Lantern, and so that's why it will only open for him. And like I said, this has definitely been a slow build up for this character with this whole journey of the Green Lantern ring. But like I said, we now also actually know what this is building towards, because it was just announced, I believe, last week. I did a video on it. You can definitely check it out if you haven't already. As the CW has officially announced that Diggle is getting his own series. It's going to be called Justice U. So he's going to be starring in that series and training a bunch of young metahumans to become the next generation of superheroes or something like that. But I assume that probably this is all going to be leading up to and building towards him becoming Green Lantern and leading his own show. Now, everything else that happens in the episode, there's some other little smaller stuff going on here, but basically the big thing that we have left to talk about is, again, more Poison Ivy stuff, but specifically Mary's Poison Ivy, because in this episode, she starts to have these crazy migraines, because now that the original Poison Ivy is back, Mary is now being drawn to her. So she goes off looking for her. Alice is kind of like, oh, you shouldn't do that. So she, I don't remember exactly how it happens, if she gets knocked out or if she goes to sleep. But anyway, she wakes up in the woods and finds out that Mary actually killed someone with her Poison Ivy powers. And it does seem like it was an accident, but she still did it. So Mary, there's no coming back from that. She killed someone. So this is going to be crazy and not at all something I expected to happen, but it happened. And maybe they won't fully cure Mary. Maybe after this, Mary is going to be a much darker character than she was before she gained the Poison Ivy powers. But we do actually have her meeting the original Poison Ivy as Renee and Pam finally officially break up for the sixth time at this point. Who knows? They're probably going to get back together again. Hopefully not actually, but we'll see. And then Mary arrives, and it's like Poison Ivy uses Mary and her powers to regain her power. So now Poison Ivy is back in full control. She's back in full swing, and she has her full powers, and we got full Poison Ivy now, which is just big old bad news for the Bat team. But now, as we saw in the promo for next week's episode, that Alice is actually going to be teaming up with the Bat team once again. So I'm definitely excited to find out how this plays out. But anyways, guys, that was Batwoman Season 3, Episode 9. And again, another solid episode. It wasn't anything too special, but still, I enjoyed it. I enjoy where the story's going here, and I'm excited to see where things go. But for now, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.